All right. Now, Kathleen Norton-Schock. We primarily get her on the show to talk about the Michigan Council of Women in Technology because she's been doing that now for a long time. I was trying to think the other day how long she's been coming on the show, and I'm not sure. It's been a long time, right? So,
Yeah, I think it goes back almost to the beginning of the show. So,
yeah.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, just fine.
Okay, good. That was fascinating listening to Michelle. I met Michelle some years back, but some event, and I haven't seen her in a long time, but really fascinating. I think I'm going to hang on to my Equinox lease for a while if I can.
You know what I've heard, Kathleen, though, that a lot of people are doing, if you've had a lease for a few years, you negotiate that price at the end of the lease that you can buy the car for.
Yeah.
And I've heard of people doing that and then turning around and selling it for $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 more than they bought it for. Just turn it over and then use that money for the down payment on something new, or I don't know, blow it on a cruise, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I have heard of people doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes some sense. And there is a company in Detroit right now that advertises quite a lot on the only stations I listen to, which either is the NPR station or also 100.3. And of course, Matt, if you were still on the radio, doing Great Lakes IT Report, I'd be listening to that. But in any case, there's I can't remember the name of the company, but they actually are out there very aggressively pushing people saying, you want to get out of your lease, contact us. We will handle all of that for you. And I'm sure they're making a profit on what they're doing. Right.
I don't suspect they're doing it just for the heck of it, right?
So, yeah, I don't think so either. It's nice to see you guys. We're going to do a little bit of a change up here. I had a bunch of meetings last week, but I also wanted to make sure that Mike was, for once, going to come to an MCWT event. He hasn't had the chance to in a few years. Of course, COVID has stopped some of our in-person events, but for the first time in a couple of years, we had our 9th annual Executive Connections Summit in person. The last 2 years has been exclusively online. This year we had it in person. And the Executive Connections Summit is 9 years old for MCWT. And it's an event sort of similar to other IT events in the sense that there's a full program all day of many speakers, and then a few sponsors sit on the outside. And this year, I think we had, from what Chris tells me, somewhere between 500 and 700 people, and then a whole other cadre of people, and they were coming in and out throughout the day. It was Thursday. But it seemed to be quite successful, even despite the fact that I was in other meetings. I was getting a lot of activity on my phone. People kept sending me pictures. People were sending me notes. There were a few people saying, "Where the heck are you?" But in any case, it did look like it was a good event. So did you enjoy yourself, Mike? By the way, the Executive Connections Summit, this year's theme, as Mike probably knows, was reboot, refresh, and reach. Now, did you do all three of those things while you were there, Michael?
Well, I think so, but it was certainly an interesting program. They had the auto CIOs from, I think we still call them the Big Three, or the Detroit Three or whatever. And
Darla Colvett was the only real CIO on that panel.
Right.
But they're all senior executives. And one of them, Maru Flores, who is the Global Collaboration and Productivity Technology Services Leader for all of Ford, is a former MCWT president, which, as you know, is a volunteer job. So She has been doing yeoman's work for MCWT for well over 15 or 16 years is when I met her. And Stacy Lynette from General Motors, who heads digital and business, the digital business team. But then Darla is the CIO for Stellantis, right? So you sat and listened to that one, I take it.
Yeah, that was good. Listen to the early program with the Qualcomm guy, or what was his name?
Right, his name is Eric Qualcomm.
Yes.
Qualman, rather.
Qualman, that's right. Qualman, yes.
Published 4 bestsellers, Amazon bestsellers, and he has spoken in 50 countries all over the globe. And his entire his focus now, his expertise is in what he calls digital leadership. And he's quite tall. from the pictures I saw. I haven't met him in person. I'd only seen his headshot and then was in some kind of text conversation with him a couple of weeks ago. But he's a really tall guy, unless Lila Lazarus had somebody doing something weird with the camera.
No, he's a former Michigan State basketball player. So
yeah.
I think they require you to be kind of tall to be a Michigan State basketball player.
You know it.
So, but yeah.
So it was a fun picture.
Right. Like I say, Lila, I didn't get to stand next to her, but if she goes a little over 5 foot tall, I would be surprised, right?
Right. She's a bundle of energy, though, and always funny. So I'm hoping that she got it seemed to me, somebody was showing me at least one picture where people were jumping up and throwing their hands in the air, which I was either Eric encouraging them to do that or Lila encouraging them to do that. I was there a few years ago when she hosted.
Well, that was Eric. Yeah, he was audience participation. He spoke for about an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was great. I hope to see more people that I recognize, but I think it was closer to 700. We were at the Suburban Showcase, and it was a very large room, and it was chock-a-block full. And the only time I really got out of there was we had a little breakfast in the morning, a little lunch, and then I got a chance to see some people. But the program moved right along, and so there were very short breaks in between, so didn't get a chance to press the flesh and kiss the babies as much as I wanted to. But no, it was great to be there. I was like,
another panel did you? And this is so much in your wheelhouse, right? We had a panel of entrepreneurs, some of whom I would call blossoming entrepreneurs, like Alina Bierman, who is the senior venture associate at Plug and Play, speaking about what we were just talking about, right, with Rochelle. Right. Bill McCoy, who's from VIHA, Joseph Romeo, who's from Gardnock Cyber Technologies, because of course cyber is huge, right? And Ashley Williams, who I love, who I met some years back, who is the founder and CEO of Razar, and who in my mind is definitely a DEI, a diversity, equity, and inclusion expert, right? But Razar has been doing some really cool things. Were you able to sit through that panel?
No, I had a meeting with a lawyer, so I had to kind of depart and deal with that. We have multiple projects going on, and we have to get some things straightened out. So I was there in the morning through lunch, but I had to take off after that. So I missed my shout out. In fact, I didn't realize that they're actually going to do that. But they thanked MITech TV and for providing you with the time to get on there every month to talk about what's happening with MCWT. So that was nice. I appreciated that. And so, yeah, it was a great conference. Thursday is one of my better days. First part of the week, I'm slammed with all sorts of stuff. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was just nice to get out. I mean, I hadn't had a suit on for a while, so I had a suit on, tie, a whole 9 yards, right?
The other exciting thing was this was our 6th year of, as you know, 6 years ago, because honestly, I think I made the first announcement on your show 6 years ago that we were doing Michigan's Woman of the Year in Technology. And so at ECS was when we announced the winner. There were about 20 people who were nominated. And as you know, the criteria is wide and vast for that. All you have to do is be a woman,
right?
And in some way, shape, or form have contributed back to our mission, making Michigan the #1 state for girls and women in technology. And this year's winner was Julie Spiler, who I met about 5 years ago. I did a podcast over at Logicalis, and she spent over 17 years at Logicalis in a variety of leadership positions. Having started out her career, she's a baby boomer, and she started out her career in the 80s working for IBM and then another smaller company, and then went to Logicalis in a variety of leadership roles over a 17-year period. Then went to work for Steve Barone's company. And I'm sure you're aware of that company, CBSI.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, and she was there for almost 3 years. And now she's moved over to a company that I don't know much about yet, but I know Julie is a mover and shaker. So if she's there, they're probably going to become fairly successful at what they do. They're called Ascend Technologies, and she's responsible for revenue growth. She's always been, it's interesting, she's a wonderful listener, which I think is a criteria for being a very good revenue builder, right? And she's their senior VP at Ascend. So she's responsible for their revenue growth in 4 key areas: cloud-based solutions, infrastructure, service desk, and cybersecurity. But she didn't win the award just for the fact that she has this rich career, because as you know, we had over 20 people nominated, all of whom have great careers, right? But I would say one of the things that put Julie over the top is that she does an amazing philanthropic work and has done it for many, many years. And in her latest incarnation of that, 2 years ago, along with some other people, she founded something called the Women's Security Alliance, which is a nonprofit. It's about 2 years old, and people can reach it at www.womsa.org. And it was focused and continues to be focused on women in cybersecurity. And as you and I and Matt know, cybersecurity, as I think most people know, is a hugely explosive area, right? So WOMSA was created to encourage women to professionally network who were security experts and to help mentor and bring along the next several generations of people that we will need, specifically women that we will need to handle the security space. So she's also been a longtime volunteer for MCWT, but many of the other people who were nominated were, you know, some of them. Nicole Scheffler, one of my best friends and my co-founder of Viva Tech Talk, was nominated. Julie Jane Sidlowski, who is the president and founder of AMI Strategies. Shoshana Walimbe, who has been, I don't know, she's my generation of volunteer at MCWT. She's been around for at least 19 to 20 years. And she is director of infrastructure and enterprise operations at Ford. Whole bunch of other people who hopefully we will nominate all of them again and again, right? Because some of these people continue to consistently give back. So that was pretty exciting that the 6th year in a row, that began as a marketing driven campaign. Doing Woman of the Year. So between Becky and I, we were pushing it with the executive director, Chris Rzuski. And it was wonderful to see so many great nominees and to have Julie win. So you probably weren't there when they made that announcement. It was a little bit later in the day, but she was running around. I was getting so many pictures on my phone and everybody wanted their picture taken with Julie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
no, actually, I was there when they announced that part. That was just before lunch. So.
Oh, okay, good. That makes sense. That's why I got so many pictures, because there was another 4 hours, right?
Right.
So that's excellent. And just to wrap up, guys, because we only have a couple of minutes. I'm glad you had a good time, Mike, and I'm glad you came. And I'm glad that they thanked you from the stage. Obviously, long overdue, those formal thank yous. For years, we used to deliver. And when Matt was doing his old thing too, we used to deliver these little statues to people. We've given that up now in the world of digital. So being there to actually hear a thank you or to know that it was shouted from a stage is a great thing. And one of the things that also got announced there was, of course, we're opening summer camps. And I did mention that the last time I was on your podcast. So the registration for our summer camps for 5th through 8th graders will occur probably by the end of this month, early June. But we have some events for the adults coming up pretty quickly, meaning, well, girls can come too, but this is for our entire membership, not just the young girls we're handling. So we have a ConnectNet coming up talking about merger challenges with this huge influx of VC money that has happened in every state, but certainly in Michigan. And that will be one of our Grand Rapids based events. And that's coming up on June 6th. And anybody who'd like to register and either be online for the event or go to it in Grand Rapids should immediately get to our site and look at events, because it's already open. It's our ConnectNet, Merger Challenges and Tech Integration. And then we have a new member welcome event coming up 2 days later down here in Southeast Michigan, which will be at NTT, one of our many sponsors. So that's at the Town Center Suite 200 at 4000 Town Center in Southfield. That also can be registered for. And then the next 2 events that help us do a lot of what we do, whether it be scholarships or the girls' camps, are coming up really rapidly. July 25th, we have our Southeast Michigan Golf Classic. And the 18th of September, we have our West Michigan Golf Classic. And again, that $1.6 million worth of scholarships we've given away over 17 years depend on events. So events like ECS, where we have sponsors come in and people pay for a ticket, but also these fun events like the golf events, and then the November, of course, Signature Gala. So I would suggest that if anybody is interested in what's going on at MCWT, as usual, they can go to our very robust website, www.mcwt.org, hit events and register, or look at all of our other programs. Things revolve on that site constantly.